All right, so now I've chosen where I'm going to make that transition, and now I'm looking up close, and I'm only dealing with two layers. The background layer I leave as is, and then I overlap it with this layer, and then cut away from it. I think of it like putting shingles on a roof. And it works really well through here, but then when I get into the sky, we have objects that go over that border, like the clouds. And so now I have to make kind of clearer distinctions. And I like to use a tablet here, but I'm just going to be erasing. And I will erase with a soft-edged eraser, but at full 100% opacity. And I want to be sure I know what I'm erasing from. And so I'm erasing from this layer with the soft eraser, but at a 100% opacity. And I get to decide which clouds get to be in the sky. Now, it's a lot easier to do this with the clouds in the distance than it is with the branches, right? Because clouds are soft anyway. But the branches on the tree are a lot less forgiving. All right. Now you may see that the exposure is just slightly different between those two. And I'll be working with that a little bit later. And that's just because of the different light readings of the different exposures. Okay, now, once I'm happy with it, I lock it so that I can't accidentally erase this layer later. I click on the little lock, and now I click on the layer above it. I right-click it and rasterize it so that I can edit it, and I take it down to 50%. And we'll be doing this a lot so you get practice. And I want to find that overlap zone that's about 50 or about a third. And I have this whole area here to overlap. And you want to use as much from each frame as possible. I actually have enough to overlap with my first exposure here. So I could even get rid of that other shot entirely, but notice how these are a little bit further off from each other because the cone of visions don't match up as well. So instead, I leave that one locked, and now I'm looking at overlapping between these two guides. And so the ideal thing would probably be this stone and this path right here. Now once I'm close, I can use my arrow keys to kind of nudge it in place. Try to find where those cones of vision match up best. And now I'm going to use my lasso. Always good to cut through organic matter. So I'm going to go right on the side of the path there. Right through all this stuff. And try to get around some of these clouds. Okay. Then I want to loop back because I'm on this frame now. Put it to 100%, and I want to delete away just from that edge. then deselect, and look up close and see where I need to blend it. You notice how my shots are starting to travel up, and that's why I gave myself, because I'm hand holding this, so it's going to travel a little bit. That's why I gave myself some room above and below. And you can see the exposure doesn't match quite. I can soften that with my soft eraser. But I want to be careful of the clouds. This is our first chance to play God and make our own clouds. And instead of transitioning this, let's see, I want to get either or. So I'm going to travel and erase right down the edge of this tree. See what that does. So it doesn't look so copy-pasty. Yeah. That's a tricky one. That's a little better. This might be something I need to retouch later with clone stamp and stuff, just because certain things are looking too matchy-matchy there. But otherwise, that seam looks pretty good. It's always man-made stuff, like these power lines that are going to trip you up. And then the seam for the path, that worked quite well. Taking all of the path in that perspective from just one shot. That was a good call. And instead I'm just blending in with the grass a little bit, instead of trying to fix the direction and perspective on the path itself. Okay. Woo. So now I lock that layer. Now I'm interested in the next one. I take it down to 50%, and I right-click on the layer and I rasterize it. And I use the guides again to figure out where the overlap is. And this pole is probably going to work well. So it's overlapping in this range here. Let's see. Yeah, so that's about a third in, trying to work with that pole. And so I'm going to draw a distinction. Right on one side of that pole, see how that works, and then work with it from there. Delete all of this away. It might be that I'm deleting too much, we will see. Take it to 100%. Yeah, I deleted a little too much. I need a little bit more on that side. So let me go backwards. Change where my lasso hits. All right, now let's try that. Put it at 100%, delete away. See how that seam works. Whoops. It's those man-made things that make it tough. Otherwise, nothing a little treatment of the exposure can't fix. Keep showing a little too much of it right there. That might be another place where I need to touch it up a little bit. And this is the hard way to do it, but you see it works pretty well. Worked really well through there. My foreground is lining up a lot better than the things that can move in the wind and are at the distance. All right, and then my last ones. Once I'm happy with it, I lock it. I do the next one, put it to 50%, line it up, try to overlap on the third, so the end of this stone, that's a good place. Halfway between the two of them. And then find kind of natural seams. Loop around, put it to 100%, and delete away. Oh, I have to rasterize before it will let me delete. There we go. Then use my eraser. I'm going to go to a slightly bigger eraser. These are softer transitions now.